the person who talks way too much. I'll do my best today, but I might talk a little bit. I feel really lucky to be able to say that I know and love so many of you so deeply. But today, I feel even more lucky to be able to say that Matt and Emily are two of my best friends and the entire planet. I love them so much. The friendship that the three of us have grown together has withstood multiple decades at this point. And I couldn't be more overjoyed to be here today celebrating your love. So yeah, I'll tell you a little bit of a story about how it all began. Alright. So Em and I met in second grade, and we could not have been more different at that time. Em was super athletic, she played soccer, and she would chase the boys around the playground. And meanwhile, I was playing with makeup and gossiping about the boys and the teachers. And although we lived under a mile from each other, Em and I didn't really start to become close friends until early middle school, when we started to share a bus route. Apparently this is like how you become close when you're in middle school, so we got really lucky somehow. We organically started to grow together and eventually found ourselves in a group of friends who lovingly called each other BFTHEO, or best friends that hate each other. Not too much has changed, but I can actually say that everybody in that group is seated here today. And over the years, we grew closer and wiser together. So for as long as I can remember, Emily has always had an energetic, exuberant spirit and endless amounts of energy. From her involvement in sports to bunny hopping her way around the dance floor at countless music festivals, Emily always brings this dynamic excitement to everything she does. She's also super resourceful, like that time in high school when she had a few girls over when her parents were away. We somehow secured a handle of bottom shelf vodka and Dixie cup-sized shots until it was gone. You can only guess what happened after that. It was a disaster in pretty much every corner of the Huber household. Emily spent the whole next day cleaning and came up with this genius excuse of blaming it on her family dog, Maggie. We were all blown away at her brilliance and innovation in this plan. We're like, that's the best thing ever. And unfortunately, we were shocked when Lori got home and could smell right through the lies. All of our parents got phone calls after that, so we rethought our potty plans in the future. Fast forward a few years to our time at JMU. Em and I did not plan to go to college together, but after an eventful road trip to check out some schools, we both serendipitously fell in love with Virginia and the beautiful James Madison campus. And life in Virginia turned out to be totally magical. Without even realizing it, we started to foster a deep connection to nature and music, and we met some of our very best friends. So many of you seated here today. Somewhere along the way, we got super lucky, and Matt enters the picture. So the first time I remember meeting Matt was at a frat party. As we learned earlier, he was wearing camo pants and a clashing shirt. I guess it was orange. That makes sense. He was into electronic music, which at the time was still pretty alternative. And he was like shocked that we also were into the same things, that we were a bunch of girls who listened to trap music. He integrated into the group quickly. I think it all hit home when he spontaneously bought a ticket to see our favorite artist and drove up to Maryland the same day as the show. We were kind of blown away by how dedicated he was and his ability to make shit happen. We were pretty stoked that he came up to party with us. And that summer, he came around more and more, even coming to our hometown of Pennington to check out our bagels and pizza, which we learned very quickly were nowhere near as good as the bagels and pizza in his hometown. backyard. We got yelled at by my dad for smoking weed. This wasn't exactly the impression that I was hoping we were going to make on our new friend. But Matt took me like a champ and continued to stick around. About a year or so into Matt hanging around with us, he decided to leave the frat life and move into this giant 6-person party house with a bunch of our best friends. So enter the next acronym best friend crew of Creams, which you also heard about earlier, and who is all seated here as well. Yeah! We would start to throw ragers and tell everyone that we were going to have a party at the house. And somehow this turned into our house being known across campus as At House. Needless to say, we got into a ton of shenanigans there. Most are probably not appropriate to share with you all today.
Do it anyway.
But the memories of support, love, and laughter that we shared within those walls were strong enough to leave a lasting effect in our hearts for life. Somewhere around the end of our time at House, Emily and Matt fell in love. I can't really give you the details of how that happened, but you would really know. I'll let them share that with you. But one day we woke up and it was kind of obvious that some magic had occurred. I won't lie, it was kind of a shock at first, but really quickly we all came around. Take a look at these two. Pretty perfect couple. And then from then on, it was big. Em and Matt grew in love and friendship and started on the journey of creating a life of joy and adventure together. After college, I moved out to Colorado, and Em and Matt still had a few more years in Virginia. Woo! Libby was there with them. They survived a year of long distance when Matt moved up to Arlington for work. They moved into their first apartment together, and eventually, to my delight, they moved out to Denver. Here in Colorado, we had access to the awe-inspiring natural settings that our hearts really desired. We started to venture out into the mountains to widen our perspective and nurture our love of adventure. Together, we've experienced so many firsts, from our first road trip out west and our first shows at Red Rocks, to countless powder days, backcountry yurts, and a 40-mile trek across Grizzly Country in Montana. These two are always down for an experience, and as long as we have enough snacks, we will face any challenge with an open mind and a positive attitude. Over the years, we've survived a lot together. Both Em and Matt are incredibly supportive friends in their own ways. Emily is the level-headed listener who always knows the right thing to say to ground you down, and Matt is an inquisitive thinker and problem solver. These two have been by my side through some of the hardest times in my life, specifically that first time when we went to Vegas to see 4 nights of Fifth in a row, and our first Colorado backpacking trip that we went on immediately after a music festival without enough food or water. We've evolved to love the finer things since then. From counting the Skittles that we carry in our backpacks to keep our pack weight down, to bringing hefty loaves of artisan sourdough made with love by our beautiful pride, we've grown to know what matters most, and it's usually snacks. I've seen you both grow in skill and patience, which can really be seen by Em's incredible sourdough making skills. I know some of you have had the pleasure of trying throughout this past week. Over the last year or so, Em has become a master baker, creating fluffy loaves and sharing them within her community. Her patience in this craft is beyond impressive. In fact, sometimes I wonder what's more annoying for Em to clean up after, her sourdough starter or Matt. Okay. Em and Matt have both grown to accomplish amazing things within their careers. Matt has climbed the ladder in leadership over his 10+ years at Deloitte. Em has proven to be the top teacher at every school she works in across the country. knowing these two, this success is not much of a surprise, but if you had been there to see the amount of times that we almost got caught doing some crazy shit, you might have a new perspective on how amazing these accomplishments are. Another impressive accomplishment was the journey to becoming parents to their sweet baby Piper. Matt and Em were These two were incredible foster parents before taking the big leap into parenthood. And as soon as Pipey's litter was born, they knew that it was time to expand their little family. Now, as the non-committal auntie of the group, I watched in awe as they decided to take on this incredible responsibility. They quickly proved that just like everything they do, they'd be the coolest parents around. Piper was pampered and loved to no end. She got to go on endless hikes and adventures, all while sporting a fish collar and the coolest gear around. Now that she's older, Piper can out-hike us all. She gets her own chair when we camp, and no matter the situation, she's the comfiest girl in the crew. The fact that I often wish I could be her is just a testament to the beautiful parenting skills that Matt and Em have shown. Anyone who has the privilege of being part of their loving family is lucky beyond words. And eventually in their journey, Matt and Em decided to build a life together here in beautiful Pagosa Springs. When they announced that they were moving, I was conflicted between feeling sad that my best friends would no longer be a block away, and also feeling elated that I would now have a home base down here. We packed up a moving truck, the 4Runner, and my Toyota, and we drove the 5-hour trek down to their new home. Matt and Em have always been extremely self-sufficient, so it was a little jarring to have the help of movers in this big transition. Instead of accepting the paid help, we decided not only to try and unpack the entire moving truck, but also to lay out an assortment of snacks and drinks for the two men who had made this long trek down with us. Apparently, they were not used to this kind of hospitality. Their reaction couldn't have been weirder. They barely touched any of the snacks and drinks. And they basically told us to back off and let them do their job. We thought it was hilarious, but these efforts just go to show how generous and kind both Em and Matt will be in literally any situation they're placed in. Okay, over the years, I watched you both grow as individuals and as a team. It is so inspiring to watch the ways that you two communicate and work together to support each other. I see your love when we're out in the wilderness. I see the ways that you act as partners to each other, not only by carrying physical weight in your packs, but symbolic weight when things get tough. I see the cute games and routines you create to keep life fun, and the ways that you pick each other up when the other gets down. Your love is so solid, joyful, and ever-evolving. You're not only support for one another, but also to all of us that you love most. You two are truly an example of a love that begins with best friendship. There's few things in life that make me happier than seeing the people I love most being loved so deeply and so purely. And I can truly say that the love I've witnessed between you two is some of the purest and most genuine I've ever seen. I'm so excited to watch you two embark on this next exciting chapter of your lives, and I can only imagine the places that this journey will continue to take you. I'm going to be there every step of the way.